Hi guys, it's Dr. Z here with your tutorial for this week's data report on trade. So I'll do another quick reminder to check the rubric and we'll get right into the data sources. So the World Bank open data can be really confusing. So I'm telling you specifically to go to indicator. It might seem intuitive to go to country first, but it's more difficult to find trade data by going to country. So go to indicator and then scroll down to trade. This one is in alphabetical order. So here we are. So you can pick the top 3 things that you find interesting. For instance, if you think your country is into high-tech, click on high-tech exports to see what % of your goods that you export are in high-tech. If you think your country is a big energy exporter, check by clicking here on fuel exports. And it takes a minute, you always get that warning. So, going to fuel exports or any other data, here's the information for world, and then you scroll down to look at country. So here you would just cite the recent year, and for most countries it's 2015, and you can see Angola exports 95% of its goods in energy. So they're a high energy exporter. In contrast to Brazil at only 7. So Brazil is pretty independent in terms of energy. They don't export a lot, so they're either independent or they have enough to sustain their own. They might still import a lot, but Brazil is not exporting a lot. Brunei, 93%. You might think of some countries like Bahrain would be more than 50, so this is a bit more diversified of an economy. They export a lot more than fuel, for instance. So I'll hop right on over to the next data set. So the IMF data sets, there are a few potential traps, if you will. So I send you right to the balance of payments data set. Here, you are asked to come up with 4 pieces of data. Exports, you want dollars and % of GDP, and the same for imports. So we'll go back to the balance of payments. So you get there by clicking on exports and then imports. So I'll click on exports. Up pops the US. So to get to the other countries, just click on the box. And there you go. Oh no, there's no data. So why? That's because it's on 2016. Move your little cursor back here on the year, and then you'll find more information. So for Argentina, you have information, but you don't for some of these other countries. You might have to go back further. So go back to the year that you find the data for your country. So you can see, excuse me, as we're going through, more data is popping up the further back we go. And for most countries, you're going to find data for at least one of these years. By the way, this has no data because it's British. So British Virgin Islands data is captured under the UK or the EU. So that's for % of GDP. And then you would do the same for dollars. So here are the dollars in billions. So please note that it's billions. So if your country is an exporter, for instance, in Algeria, 60 billion versus 523 million. So pay attention to the currency and the unit over here. And you would do the same for imports by going back here and then sliding down to imports. So click on each one of these boxes, slide over your year, and it kind of remembers where you were, and then try to go to the most recent year, but if you're within the last 10 years, that's fine. The next data set is the WTO membership. So here you would click on this link and up pops the information for when your country joined. The WTO is first. If your country joined in 1995 on January 1st, you are a founding member of the WTO. The GATT you could sign as early as the 1940s. So Australia, for instance, is a founding member of the GATT. But Antigua and Barbuda are not. So 1987. So that's what I'm asking you to report there. Next, it actually brings you to the same page, WTO country trade profile. You can actually get to the trade profile in a couple of different ways. but this is one way. So you'd go back here, click on your country, and then when you are on your country, over here is the profile. So you would click on the trade profile, and up will pop this beautiful screen where you're asked to gather this information from this screen. But this screen gives you a lot more, so read through it. So Australia, top exports in agriculture, meat, and so on and so forth. Non-agriculture, iron, coal, petroleum, gold. And then you can see down here, trade and services, transport, travel, and other. And they also note industrial property. So this is patent applications. That might be interesting for your country too. So gather the information in the list from here. And then the last thing you do is look at your country's membership in regional trade agreements. So you click here and then keep goods and services highlighted. Select your country over here. We'll pick Angola. And then up will pop your participation in trade agreements, and to get more information, you'd click here on country profile, and this gives you the list that I want you to count. So this looks like 2 for notified regional trade agreements. That means that Angola is a member of 2. But if you look close, it's the same agreement, but a cession of Seychelles, that means that Seychelles joined the Southern African Development Community. So technically, this is the same agreement, and I would say Angola is a member of 1 trade agreement. That's it. The list is going to be a lot longer for other countries, so just do a quick glance and say, my country is a member of this trade agreement, and that's it. You don't have to count all of these individual accessions if it is the same trade agreement. This counts as another regional trade agreement for Seychelles, not for Angola though. And that's it. Thank you.